I've had the Galaxy S10 for 3 months now. How has it fared? Do I like it? Do I hate it? Let's talk. Hey there, friends on YouTube. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back again. It seems like only yesterday, but in fact, tomorrow is the 3-month anniversary of the Galaxy S10 release. I've been using the Galaxy S10 Plus since day one, and I have some thoughts on the phone, some that may surprise you, some that may not. I'm going to take this review through a few key areas, beginning with hardware and discussing software, camera, and finally some thoughts about what the phone overall is all about and what it might mean for 2019 phones altogether. A lot has happened in the 3 months since the S10 has been in the wild. When I attended the launch back in February, the majority of the hype went to the Galaxy Fold, and we now know that device has some, how shall we say, challenges making it to the marketplace. And that's kind of overshadowed the S10 line a little bit. So I thought, here we are, 3-month mark, and Galaxy Fold seems to have, gone away, so it'd be a perfect time to revisit the S10 line and tell you how the S10 Plus has fared for me. Now, full disclosure, I almost always carry an Android phone and an iPhone because I need to have both for this job. Usually I switch Android phones pretty often, and I can't remember a time when I kept the S line of phones past the initial review period of about a month or so. They've always been fine, but there's just always been some little thing that nagged at me and made me want to move on to greener pastures. The S8 was a decent phone, but it left me underwhelmed pretty quickly, and the same was true for the S9. Typically, I go for the larger Plus models because I like big phones. And I cannot lie, but the S10 Plus has been different. Usually I'll pretty quickly go back to the iPhone as my main phone, but the S10 Plus has held that position for a lot longer. Part of that has to do with the hardware. This is one of the best looking, most well-built phones ever to hit the market. Samsung has gotten better and better with their design and their materials year after year after year, especially in the last few years. But the S10 seems to be the phone where it all came together. I got this white pearl version of the phone, and while I'm usually, a darker mode kind of guy, the pearlescent back here, it just speaks to me. It looks great when the light hits it. It's very sexy. Although it's a large phone in terms of screen size, it's actually relatively small compared to the other phones with similar size screens. It's the same height as the iPhone XS Max vertically, but a little thinner and a little lighter. It's thinner this way and it's thinner this way. It sits in my hand more comfortably than the iPhone, and I don't have to move around as much to get different parts of the screen. I've always considered the plus size phones, especially the plus size iPhones, as two-handed devices. The S10 Plus is pretty easy for me to use one-handed. My one complaint is that the power button on the device is too high, which is a pain to reach comfortably. And the button itself is a little too small and too slim. I prefer the power button on the iPhones. They're bigger, they're thicker, they're easier to get to. Similarly, the volume buttons have that same kind of issue, which is compounded by the fact that right below is this Bixby button. I haven't had too many inadvertent presses of the Bixby button for the first time since that feature was introduced, but I do find myself hunting for the volume buttons more than I'd like to because I might initially feel that Bixby button or something like that. I have to say that this is the first Samsung phone I've held it for a long time that didn't feel like it was made out of some sort of brittle candy or something. There's a solid feel to this device, and somehow the slipperiness of the past devices has gone away somehow, or at least been minimized, even though the materials are much the same. The materials have proven to be incredibly durable. For the first time in a really long time, I didn't want to put a case on the phone because I like the look of it so much, and I didn't. I've never used a case with this phone. Still looks like the day it was born. Fresh out of the box, after 3 months. It looks just brand new. I can't overstate how impressive this is and how glad I am to have a phone where I can feel comfortable carrying it around and enjoy the design as opposed to some cheap looking, not nearly as stylish case. Oh, And the headphone jack is still awesome, and I still use it. Here, I would say something about call quality, but let's be honest, I don't make or take very many phone calls, and so long as it works, I'm fine. So if you want call quality, Mr. Mobile is your guy. He talks about it all the time. Go over there and watch Mr. Mobile. On the software side, my feelings remain much the same. Amazingly, I still haven't become annoyed by One UI, and have kept Samsung's default skin in place since the day I bought the phone, and haven't even had the urge to change it. Nova Launcher isn't even downloaded on this phone. The UI is clean. It looks like a natural extension of Android as opposed to something trying to be different than Android. There's not a jarring difference between the stock Samsung icons, the stock Android icons. Samsung has come a long way from TouchWiz and the cluttered, overstuffed mess that used to be. I worried that the pill-shaped cutout here on the top right of the screen would bother me, but to be honest, it really hasn't at all. There are all kinds of clever ways that folks have found to hide this in their wallpapers and that kind of thing, but even when it's not hidden, it's not obtrusive. This is so much a better solution than the notch we've seen on so many phones over the past year, 18 months, something like that. And actually, the face recognition on this Samsung phone is not FaceTime, but it works really fast, really quickly. I'm into the phone, so that's great. That's great. With this screen design, Samsung is kind of throwing a kidney punch, the rabbit punch, to all the notch-having phones of yesteryear. We haven't seen the majority of the phones that will come out this year, but Samsung has proven it has the screen tech to beat this year. And it's one of the reasons it sits as my best phone of 2019 so far. It'll take some pretty surprising shifts in other companies' design language to compete with how good this looks. Speaking of good looks, the screen on the S10 line is simply the best screen that you can get. Everything seems to pop out of the screen with an almost like 3D effect. The colors are so amazing. Not too saturated, but not too flat. I've compared the S10 Plus screen side by side with the iPhone XS Max, and the iPhone screen looks great, but it looks a little washed out next to the S10 Plus. I don't know how Samsung keeps making their screens better and better every year, but this is the kind of dark magic that both scares and excites me. I'm not much of a phone camera geek, but in my estimation, the S10 cameras are in the top 2 or 3 among smartphones out there. Once you get to that place, you're pretty much talking personal preference other than anything else. Some people might like one phone over the other, but they're all really good cameras. Just to give you a little test, iPhone XS Max, Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, a little bit of some springtime photographs from around my backyard, as well as a couple of selfies, so that you can get a good look at my new haircut. What do I have to say to sum up my experience with the S10 Plus over the past 3 months? Well, I think you already know that it's been positive, and for my money, this is the best phone that Samsung has made to date. Almost all the annoyances with previous Samsung phones are gone, and over time, the device has proven to be a continued pleasure to use. If you're on the fence about getting one for yourself, I offer it a hearty thumbs up, +1, go for it. Unless, one caveat, you consider that the Note 10 is coming in August, and it looks to be everything the S10 Plus is, and more. It might be worth waiting if you think the Note might be more your style, if you want that S Pen kind of thing going on. If you want me to make a preview video on the Note 10, let me know down in the comments, and I'll work on some of that. To round this out, I think the fact that I have continued to use and enjoy the S10 Plus for 3 months says just about everything that I need to say about it. I usually move on from the S-line phones pretty quickly, but for my money, the S10 Plus is still the phone to beat in 2019. And other manufacturers, I'm not going to name names, but other manufacturers are going to have to step up their game to have a shot at taking this phone's crown away. Honestly, Samsung's toughest competition this year will likely come from within in the form of the Note 10. Now, that says a lot about how well Samsung's doing right now. Samsung has been playing second fiddle for a long time, but with the S10 line, they've taken over first chair, and it'll be hard for anyone to beat them out this year. Let's put the Galaxy Fold thing behind us. Let's just forget it and enjoy the awesome phones that we have in the S10 line, like this Galaxy S10 Plus that I have right here. What do you think? Galaxy S10? Best phone of the year so far? Let me know it out in the comments and we'll have a boisterous discussion. I really appreciate you all being here. In fact, if this was your first time and you want to come on back again, then you can like and subscribe and do all those kinds of things and bell notify yourself, of course. Otherwise, YouTube won't tell you when new videos come out. And if you've been here before, thank you ever so much for being a part of the Wizard Squad. I really do appreciate it. At any rate, my name, still Jason. This has been Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out!